All right, welcome back, everyone. So today, we're going to do something a little different. We're looking back at 2025's stock market performance, but think of it like a giant global competition, a super league for markets, if you will. We're going to find out who really came out on top. Let's dive right in. So here's the big question we're tackling today. If you pictured all the world's stock markets in a massive, year-long horse race, who would you say won in 2025? Go on, take a guess. I'll give you a hint. It is absolutely not who you think it is.
Okay, so let's get right to it. This year's winner, it was a total shocker. The results just completely turned everything we thought we knew on its head.
I mean, really think about it. The winner wasn't the US. It wasn't China. It wasn't any of the usual titans we talk about day in and day out. All those heavy hitters. Nope, not even close.
The undisputed champion of 2025, the market that left everyone else in the dust, was Colombia. Yep, you heard that right, Colombia. Specifically, its main IBC index. It wasn't just a win, it was a complete and total blowout. And get ready for this number. We're talking a gain of over 1,600%. No, that is not a typo. Plus 1,630.53%. To put that in perspective, any money you put in at the beginning of the year would have multiplied by more than 17 times. It's just staggering. Absolutely unbelievable.
Okay, so as wild as that is, Colombia wasn't the only surprise this year. Let's unpack the rest of the leaderboard, because this is where the story gets even more interesting. Wow, just take a look at this. Obviously, you've got Colombia way out in front in its own universe. But then look at the rest. The Eurostoxx Banks Index came in second with a huge 80% gain. You've got Chile right up there, the Czech Republic, Israel, Pakistan, all posting returns over 50%. Even Colombia's other index, the COLK cap, made the top 10. I mean, who would have ever predicted a top 10 that looks like this? No one. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The story of global growth in 2025 is found not just in the headlines, but in these dynamic, smaller markets. That's exactly right. While everyone was watching the big names, the real fireworks were happening in these less obvious places. And you know, this wasn't just a few random markets getting lucky. We're seeing real patterns here, these new hotspots of growth popping up around the world. So let's zoom in a little closer. Okay, first up, Europe's breakout stars. And we're not talking about the usual suspects like Germany or France. Look at this. We saw this incredible surge across Southern and Eastern Europe. Slovenia, Spain, Poland, Romania, Austria, all of them just crushing it with gains over 40%. That's not a fluke, that's a full-blown regional boom. And it wasn't just Europe. This trend was popping up all over the place in these emerging market power players. You had Israel with a massive 52% gain, Pakistan's KSE 100 right there with it, Vietnam posting nearly 40%. The growth was happening everywhere, and it was powerful. So, all this talk about these amazing smaller markets probably has you wondering, what about the big guys? You know, the titans. How did they do in this crazy race? Well, this slide right here puts everything into perspective. It's just night and day. On the left, you've got our winner, Colombia, with that mind-blowing 1,600% gain. And on the right, the good old US 500. Now look, a 17% gain is a great year, no question about it. But in the context of 2025's race, it just gets completely dwarfed. The gap is just wow. And it was the same story for all the major indices. Japan's Nikkei, a fantastic year, up almost 27%. Germany's DE40, up 24%. The US 100, over 21%. These are really solid, healthy numbers that honestly anyone would be thrilled with. But the key takeaway here is that they just weren't where the hyper growth was in 2025. Okay, so let's bring it all home. What's the final scoreboard look like? What are the big lessons we learned from this absolutely wild year in the markets? It really boils down to three key things. First, the most insane growth happened in places nobody was looking. Second, if you wanted those explosive lottery ticket-like returns, you had to be in emerging and frontier markets. And third, the traditional titans, yeah, they grew just fine, nice and steady, but they were completely overshadowed by all the action happening elsewhere. And that's what I want to leave you with, this one big question. Is the future of growth hiding in plain sight? Does this past year tell us that maybe, just maybe, the next big opportunities aren't where we expect them to be? Someone to think about.